This is Off Track.
Tim, are you glasses? Is that Are you contacts usually? Are you reading something? Like, why are you wearing glasses?
I was reading something earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
You need reading glasses? You read a lot, and I've never seen you in glasses.
I was reading something with very small print.
Okay.
Like what?
I'm
Were
like-
you entering a Chick-fil-A contest or like
No,
what sort
I
of
was.
small print?
It was for my other jobs. I had some notes, and they were.
Now I know you're lying.
Printed out in very small.
Why are your notes that small?
I don't. It weren't mine. They weren't my notes. It was notes that I was sent, and it was a PDF. And I like to print when I'm working on editing things, so I printed it out, and then I was like, "Well, this is way too small."
James, if
and
only
so
there
I
was
had the
a
solution
way
of printing it larger again, or just wearing my glasses. So I went with the glasses. Getting roasted by the guy in a Cracker Barrel hat. This is new for me,
Dude. First of all,
what complaints do you have about Cracker Barrel?
absolutely.
that I didn't get a Cracker Barrel hat.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. So the other thing, Alex, that I find fascinating about Tim's glasses
I'm putting it back
situation
on.
is,
I think I
go
look
ahead.
good with them.
Right, but again, that brings me to my point: is you think they look good, like your sunglasses. But I got to tell you,
your
man,
couch.
this is confirming that your taste in glasses of
And
any
couches.
kind is just terrible.
Yeah.
So it's just hurt Tim day. Got it. It's just
It's a day that ends in
Tim's
Y.
feelings day.
Yeah.
It's fine.
At least we're honest with
What I
you.
wanted to do. Oh yeah, no, that makes it better.
I always tell Kelly, like, when she wears an outfit, I'm like, that looks like absolute trash. Like, at least it's when I say she looks good, it's not bull. Like,
That's fair.
That is true. That is very true. You do know where you stand with Alex, and I can confirm. I have seen him. We were in Chicago with the girls, and they made us go like shopping with them, and they walk out of the change room together, and we're both just sitting there in the loser boyfriend husband
Corner.
chairs. Yeah. And Kelly's like, "How do I look?" And I won't repeat exactly what Alex said, but he was definitely very brutally honest about his dislike for the outfit.
and she didn't buy it.
And I gotta be honest with you, man. I completely agreed. Your assessment was spot on. It was very funny.
Yeah.
Oh, it was very funny. Where did you get a Cracker Barrel hat? And I'm actually also kind of want one. That thing's pretty sick.
I've got some friends in the Cracker Barrel chain of command, and they.
I mean, don't we all? Like, didn't we do
don't
this
know.
together? Didn't this all come about because of an off-track thing?
I mean, that is true. That is true. But I met a guy. Well, no. So yeah, we all met the guy and his wife. At
came to Nashville, the live show,
At the live
right?
show at Margaritaville. So I don't know why you didn't get one. I'm so sorry. I can ask for more because it's pretty dope. It's a pretty
looks sick.
Like, yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Anyways, it arrived in the mail with a little like care pack, so I figured I'd whip her on.
I respect
Toss
that.
her
I
on
also
there.
am now very hungry and want a short stack and some dumplings like you
Where
wouldn't believe.
are you? Is there Cracker Barrel in Mexico or Brazil? Which one?
I'm in
where are
Mexico,
you?
so
Okay.
I'm in Mexico City. Still, it's Monday post race. We leave tomorrow for Brazil.
You
No,
and
I don't-
The circus you're a part of.
Correct. Well, it's funny because since they started doing these triple headers, right? So like 3 races back to back to back.
Terrible.
So they've been pretty good about. Most people don't do all 3. You either do like 2 and then go home, or you do like the first and then skip the middle and then come back for the second or the third. Because I'm dumb and I don't do them all year, I'm just like burning through. So it's like me and I think one other woman that I work with that's doing the actual full triple. So like we have this rotating crew of people that are in and out, and we're just on the road together, just making this thing work and making TV magic. But yeah, I don't see any Cracker Barrels out of my window, and
that means they're
lot of
probably
good-
not there because usually you can see one out your window.
it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see a lot. I'm on the 19th floor. I can see quite a bit of the city. It's a big city. It's a very big city. One of the
city.
biggest, actually.
Yeah, that is a fact.
Although I do have a bit of a gripe with the city because I don't know if yesterday was some like the Day of the Dead celebration is sometime around now. I don't know if it was actually yesterday or whatever, but there was a lot of fireworks last night. Cool, no problem. They went pretty late. I would say they went pretty late. But again, I'm not going to rain on anybody's parade. I'm not going to be a Debbie Downer. Was I in bed when
literally.
they were still going? Right.
Right.
Well, yeah, literally there is a parade.
Yeah.
Have a great time. I'm good. It's fine. The issue was that throughout the entire night, I heard at 2:30, 3:30, 4:30, 6:30. It wasn't even like consistent. Obviously, they weren't just doing consistent fireworks for like 12 hours, but it was very regularly, like more than once a minute, just like a pow, pow, all night long. It was so loud. Like it sounded, I was like, either there's construction happening, there's a war breaking out. I'm not entirely sure what's going on. That was annoying because it wasn't even a show at this point. Like I got out of my bed and went to the window, and it's just like one little bright flash and a really loud bang.
Yeah, we call that in LA. We call that the 4th of July was within the last 6 months, or the Dodgers won.
Oh yes, which they have done a couple times.
Yeah,
twice in a row. It would seem.
Yeah, it would seem.
And I knew exactly when the game ended because there were fireworks.
That's fair.
This actually brings up
and you knew
something.
that score.
Yeah, this actually brings something up because I was just talking about this with somebody else. You guys know I live pretty close to the Grove.
Yes.
The Grove, an outdoor mall in LA, does a big tree lighting ceremony every November. It's usually middle of November, right before Thanksgiving. They light up the Christmas tree. They have fake snow. They do a concert. It's this whole to-do. And every year, since I've been here, and I've been in this apartment for 11 years, and I know they did it before I was here, they have a massive fireworks show as a part of this celebration. And the weeks leading up to it, including now, I've already gotten letters from Caruso, whatever, the company that owns the Grove, telling us, here are the times, here are the dates, there are going to be fireworks, here's your invitation, here's the special area because you'll be affected by this. You can come and get like a nicer area for it. But just letting you know, if you need to make special arrangements for your pets, the fireworks are going to be launched at exactly this time, and exactly this date, and they will end at exactly this time. They do everything they can to make sure we're aware. I will get like 8 more of these letters before they go off. Without fail, every year there's like 50 posts on the Nextdoor app like, what the hell are these fireworks? Why didn't anybody warn us about these fireworks? Why are they allowed to do this?
My favorite is on like the Ring app, neighbor app or whatever, around the 4th of July or holidays or whatever. They're like, do you hear gunshots? And it's like, dude.
Bit of awareness here, guys.
No,
just a bit.
I just heard 9 consecutive gunshots in my neighborhood. No, you didn't.
And then they whistled a little bit.
It was Alex and Colton blowing up Scott's house.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, God, that was so good. That was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it just underlines that, yeah, people are sometimes not super.
Okay, so Mexico. Let's talk about the beginning of the Mexican Grand Prix weekend because holy does Pato Award with
dude,
Kit Kat and Amal create quite a scene. That was.
Are we sure that wasn't for Kit Kat?
No, I'm pretty
sure
that was for Potato.
They might just really like Kit Kat.
If you guys haven't seen the images on Twitter, look them up because I mean I'm sure you have. It was equivalent to what I would imagine a A-list superstar celebrity going to do some sort of quick appearance, autograph session, meet and greet. I don't know. It was unbelievable.
It was like the boy band du jour was coming to the mall, and
solid reference.
Right, like it was multiple stories. On the ground floor, there was not a single space for another human being. You could not see floor anywhere. And then as you looked up in like the atrium, every layer, for 5 levels over the balconies, packed with people screaming his name just to get a look at him. Like none of those people were going to get to meet him because it was
as impressive as that is. Like I bet Adrian Fernandez would get more.
I did like that all weekend long. Zach Brown was wearing the Pato Who hat.
Amazing. What a guy. What a guy. Zach what a guy. 0.
So good, man.
Yeah.
So good. No, it was awesome, man. It was great. And I got to see him a bunch this weekend. How cool for him. I mean, you get it. You got to drive a Formula One car on home soil, and he's now got to do the same thing. I felt so bad for him, though, because, like, those FP1s they're like kind of bull.
I didn't watch. I barely watch the races. I'm certainly not going to watch FP1.
Of course.
How, like, I saw the end result. He was 0.3 off Oscar, which is, I mean, Oscar's legit, and so that's very good. But there was like a lot of comments that he made, like that the session was super stressful. Like, did he have problems? What happened? No, why was it so stressful?
So he was obviously in Lando's car, right? Because the rules in F1 are once a year each driver, so twice per team has to sit out an FP1 and put in a rookie. So Lando had to sit out FP1, Pato was in, and McLaren had a new floor that they had been like waiting to debut, and they only had one. And obviously Lando in the championship fight, he was getting that floor.
I'm surprised they decided to pull Lando, not Oscar, from FP1.
Yeah, I don't know if they just have to, because they haven't done it yet. And so, like, it's got to happen at some point.
Wait, it has to be Lando?
I think each guy has to sit out one.
Did not know that. Okay.
Yeah. It's not just 2 for the team. It's each driver.
Got it. Okay.
So this, for whatever reason, they picked this race.
Yep.
Because of Pato, I imagine. So they sent him out with the old floor because they just wanted him to get up to speed and not risk the new floor, which makes sense. But then, as you know, changing a floor on a Formula car is not like a quick change.
Especially an F1 car.
Especially an F1 floor. Yeah. And so he went out, kind of did a long tire run. That was like 4 laps, 5 laps, something like that. It was like 3 push laps. And then came in and then spent like, well, there was a red flag for an incident. Alex Albon hit the wall.
Oh, I saw that.
When he got into Ollie Behrman there. And so there's a big red flag. So that cost a bunch of time. And then they did the floor change, which cost a bunch of time. And so he basically got the floor on and was given 1 run on the softs. That was like 1 push lap. So he did like 4 push laps in an hour.
Oh.
But that's just like the program.
And the end result was like good.
End result was good. And they were like, they could not have stressed enough. Because I said to him, I was like, all right, hey man, like, where was the time? Like 0.3 is awesome, right? Like you can find, if it's half a tenth everywhere, whatever. He's like, nah, man, they were very adamant about not going fast in the high speed stuff and risking crashing. Because that's where all the accidents happen on the weekend. So they were like, just don't do anything dumb. Just really don't push.
Like, we don't care. Please just get our data.
Correct.
Like,
Correct. So he was like, yeah, I had to lift through there. And like, that's basically the time. So it was like a really, really impressive run, given how little track time he's really been given in the weekend. He had done a TPC test, a 2-year-old car at Silverstone a couple weeks ago or whatever, simulator work, all that stuff. But again, it highlights 2 things that we've talked about a bunch. A, how good the simulators really are these days for F1. How awesome the fact that you can go test a 2-year-old car is, pretty much unrestricted.
Yep.
But then also just like, these cars, man, they're so good that they're relatively easy to get up to a certain threshold.
I will say I agree with all of that in all cases, except, quite frankly, I think Mexico City is one of the most challenging tracks, at least F1 tracks that I drove, of the, like, let's call it 10 of them. It's so low grip, man. Like I don't know if it's the combination of the elevation, so you're not making any downforce and all that sort of thing, but like it doesn't get used very much. So it's super like you're sliding around a lot, which actually I bet in a lot of ways benefited Pato, because it brings it more back to an IndyCar sort of sensation.
It still feels like 10 times more grip than an IndyCar. Sure.
But
so like, he's still like, look at all this
guys
grip.
Are probably like, this is the biggest piece of I've ever driven. And he's like, oh my God, this thing's on rails.
Exactly. So it's a double-edged sword, right? Because you have less grip to like save you and play with, but you also like, you're not looking for that insane limit that these cars have at like an Austin or a Silverstone or whatever. But either way, it was a great effort from him. He had a blast.
IndyCar drivers aren't wankers. That's good.
That is good.
I mean, although he did, some of you are.
he did say something. I don't know if you saw this article, Alex. He had one quote that I was like, I love the sentiment, maybe a little aggressive, because they were talking about how he was only 0.3 off Oscar, and Oscar's a 2-time race winner this year and all this stuff. And he goes, yeah, man. He goes, but if you put an F1 driver in an FP1 in an IndyCar race, he won't be within a second and a half of the leading car. And I was like, a second and a half seems like a big margin. I think
where he was coming from that is how shockingly bad, and this is one sample size, but how shockingly bad Nico Hülkenberg was. right, in a McLaren car at Barber.
Right.
But like Grosjean came over.
Kevin Magnussen in a McLaren at
Road
America.
Yeah, but Grosjean came over and was on it right away. So
that in 2016 won the 500.
Yeah, but at St. Pete, I was 1.5 seconds off. I can tell you that much.
That would actually be hilarious to go back and look at first practice, St. Pete 2016.
I'm going to do
see
it right now.
How far off you were.
Yeah, so walk us through the rest of the weekend. I did watch the race, but didn't watch anything to do leading up to the race. So
yeah, so I mean, it was a weird weekend because FP2 it was like a Pirelli tire test, and so basically it's a complete write off.
8/10, not bad.
Not bad. See, but that makes sense.
I was 1/10 off Will Power and 17th.
Right. So yeah. So, but again, I understand his point.
Yes.
It was just the number he picked was maybe a bit generous.
Yes.
C'est la vie. So yeah, qualifying. Look, F1 has been really good this year, man. Like it's legitimately been very strong. The McLarens looked really good in final practice, but the Ferraris have been obviously really good last week, and everybody it was a track kind of suited to them because they're very good in low speed and they got the best straight line speed right now, and that's all Mexico City is, minus
for sure
7 to 11. So, but like Oscar and Lando were P1 and 2 by like 3/10 in last practice. So into qualifying, Mexico's so weird, man. This is something. So the whole track limits thing is annoying, right? But they've kind of found a way to make it a little easier in the sense that they've just been like, yeah, every corner anywhere in the track, if you go 4 wheels off, it's track limits. It used to like be certain corners were defined as ones where it was enforced and others weren't, whatever. Obviously, they made an adjustment at Austria this year and just put gravel on the outside of all the things, which was great. And I think that helped a ton. But Mexico is like one of the only places where you get track limits violations on the inside, because you can take so much curb in 2 and 3 that you are actually 4 wheels outside the white line, but on the apex rather than the exit.
Okay.
So in qualifying, when you're going for everything, right, you just gobbling up curbs, and a bunch of guys got track limits violations. So Oscar got one, then had to do a second run on a set of tires, didn't make it out of Q1. First time, actually all season, he hasn't been in Q3, never mind out in Q1. So that was a big blow. Checo couldn't stop the car, had some braking problems, and that was obviously a big bummer to have the hometown guy out in Q1, but it just further issues for him, which sucks. And then, but McLarens were quick in Q1, quick in Q2, and then in Q3, Ferraris just turned it up, man. And Carlos, who's been on it the last 2 weeks, just really kind of buried everybody. Both his laps were good enough for pole. Max did what Max does in qualifying. He got his first lap taken away from track limits, and in this low grip, hard to put it together, the car's not as quick as the Ferraris or the McLarens, he put it on the front row. Like, it's just one shot, full pressure, highest stakes, puts on the front row. It's so impressive, man, what that guy does with a race car.
Yep.
So impressive. But Carlos definitely looked he had that confidence about him. Like sometimes you can just see when a driver is just hooked up on a weekend and it's kind of like it's his race to lose. Mm-hmm. That was sort of how Carlos was looking right from practice. Nailed it in qualifying, and then came the race. Now turn 1 in Mexico is always fun.
Yes, long run to turn 1, and Max did what Max does again. So he, under pressure, dirty side of the track, got the launch. And even though like the Ferrari was stretching his legs on him a little bit and he had pressure from behind with the toe effect and everything, like he made it work, survived, 1, 2, 3, did a great job, clean, all good. Behind him, Tsunoda got dumped inadvertently by Albon. So safety car. And Max did again what Max does, like clowned everyone on the restart. Like it was so impressive. Like that double right is like, it's quite rear limited and loose, and on heavy fuel, cold tires after being behind a safety car for 4 laps, like he was flat, but you could see the attitude of the car, and it was just like digging into the left rear. And I'm like, this guy, he's pretty cool. But even then it was like Carlos, even though Max dumped him like out of the stadium section, like Carlos was having a run on him without DRS into turn 1. So you knew it was a matter of time. before Max was going to be hosed by the Ferrari. 2 laps later, Carlos drives by him, but that wasn't really Max's race. I don't really think he cared. The guy behind him was Lando. And here we go again. And
Dude.
like, I love Max Verstappen. I I still would say I'm a slightly bigger Lewis fan, but like, I like Max. I respect him a lot. I love how he drives.
I mean, he's no George Russell. I know that's your guy.
Right. And so there was 2 incidents that we're going to talk about. I lost a little respect for him on the second one. The first 100%. One was like, he's just doing his thing. Like, that was fine in Austin. He's doing his thing. He managed it again. And it was it was a carbon copy, right? Lando tried the outside. This time Lando was, I think, ahead at the apex because Lando also learned a lesson.
He learned, exactly.
Right. But Max dumped the brake, tried to roll into the apex, kind of kept it on track. Lando had to go wide, shortcut a corner, was looking like he was going to give up the position, and pause. Maybe James has a different.
No. Let's just focus back on turn 4 for a sec, right?
Okay.
So it was a carbon copy of Austin, except Lando was like, all right, let's play like this.
Yes.
And so he rolled off the brake. He was ahead at the apex.
But there was no way he was making the corner.
For sure. But the fact that Max goes all the way to the outside, you argue, and then eventually he got a penalty for it, right? That Max now has the responsibility to give Lando the room, and because Max goes all the way to the white line. So that was the first time that Max tried to exploit the rule, but missed it, right? Because look, you're committed to the brake, or rolling off. You're committed to your apex speed, hoping that you're ahead, but he wasn't ahead. So he was already boned at this point.
Right. The argument, and I'm not saying that I disagree with the penalty. The argument is Lando was not going to make the corner. So this whole rule of let's just be ahead at the apex is creating these stupid situations, right?
Correct.
Because guys are just shipping it in. It's like, oh, I was a quarter of a foot ahead at the apex. That means it's my corner, even if I miss it by 19 feet on the exit. It's like, no, shut up.
I can Mario Kart this thing with a mushroom across the corner and I'm good. Yeah.
That's dumb. Yeah.
So is the idea just trying to get rid of subjectivity? If it's just like, okay, look, let's not let it, So,
but now the drivers are taking the piss.
Now the drivers are being idiots.
It's going to have to change again.
Because isn't that what Max did last week? Like he wasn't.
It is. But it is. You're right.
So,
but like it's becoming. It's this whole thing is now becoming a piss take, right? And so someone needs to reel it back in because it's now starting to look bad.
Because Lando now knows going in, he's not going to make the corner, but as long as he's ahead at the apex, he can drive off the corner, and technically he's allowed to keep the position, and Max gets a penalty. So like, you're just aiming for the runoff, like you're aiming for the grass, and that's the rule.
It sounds like it would all be solved by just putting gravel in the runoff.
For sure, it's a big part of it.
Yeah.
And then so then, well, I want to just pause here and bring up the fact that later in the race, the 2 Mercedes cars were at each other's throats, open racing. Like the call came across the radio, you guys are free to race, just give each other room. And what happened when 2 guys actually show some respect and give each other room was a great battle. Like they had a great side-by-side couple laps back and forth. It was a great, that was good racing. What the rules have created that Max and Lando have exploited the last 2 weeks is not even racing. It's just garbage. So anyway, that the potential is there. We just need everybody to start calming down and behaving themselves. All right. So so that's turn 4. Now we get to turn 7.
So at this point, Lando is ahead, but I think Lando at this point knows what occurred 7 days ago, and was very clearly the faster car. So I think he didn't want to like keep the position by getting it going off track and like fighting who was ahead by an inch or whatever. So I think he was planning on giving the position back. But then what Max did was, I don't know what the purpose was. Was it retaliation? Was it a brain lapse? Because it was dumb. Like he didn't accomplish anything other than a poorly executed turn 1 at Austin, in the sense that not only did he lose a spot to Charles, but like it was just bad driving. Like it wasn't good.
Well, it was dangerous, right? Like, so turn 7 there. I mean, it's barely a break, right? Like it's a pretty quick S.
Yeah.
Like it's a break and a downshift, but it's not like a.
You're not coming from a very high approach speed, so yeah.
No, and I think Max just didn't brake, and he just fired it up the inside. Lando saw it coming somehow because I would not have been expecting that at that corner. I would have expected it down into 12 maybe, but they both go completely off track, like not even close. So you say Charles goes by, and Max gets ahead by literally just driving them both clean off the track.
Yep.
And I mean, it doesn't even matter at this point, the apex rules. Like it was just, he didn't even brake. He was absolutely just aiming for him basically. And it was 100% on Lando to not have a massive shunt, which Max would have been fine with because that's Lando not scoring any points, right? So it's going back to this Schumacher mentality, this Senna mentality that we've seen in the past of drivers willing at this stage in a close championship to like, hey, if both of us don't finish, that's good for me. And just
I was gonna say when he got the penalty, why didn't he just take him out?
Well, that would be a race ban. Like, you can't do that.
Really. You can get eliminated from an entire season, as we've seen in the past.
Fair enough. So that was a good answer. That was a good answer then.
Yeah.
It's good he didn't do that.
So he got 20 seconds worth of penalties. But what it did do, this is what I will say. What it did benefit, or what effect it did have, was by letting Charles go by both of them, and then losing however much time they lost to Carlos in that stint by, the crap they were doing and by running off the road and having bad tires for a lap or whatever. When you look at the pace Lando had at the end of the race, I don't know, man. Like if he had just stayed ahead of Max and could just go after Carlos from there on and not have to worry about Charles or the gap, he may have actually won that race.
Right.
So Max is probably still here because then Max gets 20 seconds with the penalties. He still drives up to like fifth or sixth.
Yeah. And so like he lost a bit, but the gap's still 46 points or something. So it's not like it was very good damage limitation.
Yeah. But I mean, look at it this way. So he lost, I think it was 10 points. It was a 10-point swing. If you just let Lando go, and he's in third, and you're in fourth. Yeah, maybe because I guess if he finishes second and he stays fourth, obviously it's less. But if he wins, that's an extra 8 points. Yeah. Maybe it was still a net gain for him because Lando probably could have won the race.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he would have. Like I don't know how hard Carlos is pushing, but
here's the thing: like why isn't Lando winning? Like I think that's something that should be talked about because I do think the McLaren in a lot of ways is the benchmark. I'm not saying that Mexico very well could suit the Ferrari and the Ferrari was just going to be unbeatable, but like I just feel like the McLaren has been the car for the second half of the season and Lando has not. Like he's won a couple, right? Mm-hmm. 2?
Yeah, he's won 3 this year.
Okay.
So he won Zandvoort and Singapore
and Miami, right?
And Miami.
Right.
But since the break, he should have probably won Hungary.
Right.
Could have maybe possibly won Monza if the team wanted to do some team orders stuff. But here's the thing.
But the point is, it's just not like I'm surprised that Max even has a window to with him. Like the Red Bull's not very good.
Right.
And so
but it's Max.
No, I know.
He's just so
that.
Good.
But like, I feel like that car has a pace advantage, and with DRS and everything, like, what are we missing here that we're not just passing him?
Here's the problem.
You can't.
You just pass Max. Him. You can't do it. Right. He just doesn't let you do it.
That's fair. Yeah.
And he sacrifices himself.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just to keep the position.
It's phenomenal. Yeah. But it's funny because he doesn't race. He's only racing Lando like that because he doesn't give a if
because he knows it's not right. He's just doing what he has to.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to do that.
That's what a guy. I mean, that's
like he's a stone cold killer, man.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
And that's all it is. It is. But I do think that Brazil is going to suit the McLaren very well. And that's a sprint race. So a lot of points up there, an extra 8 with the sprint race.
Brazil has weather that comes into effect, though, quite often.
It does.
And that benefits Max. So
yeah. I said it's just there's great races there. Like the layout of those first couple corners just makes for some really really fun racing.
Oh yeah, it's rain on Sunday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's rain, so
really
that does spice things up a little bit.
All right. I have to admit, the only rain jacket that I brought was my Indianapolis Motor Speedway security guard rain jacket. So
nice. Represent.
Yep.
All right. So what else happened in the race? Sergio did not get it done. It's interesting. A lot of things coming out again, like Horner's refusing to commit to Sergio finishing out the season. They're now third in the constructors, I believe.
Yep.
Again, like we've talked about this a lot. Who do you put in? Do you bring Ricciardo back? Like, what do you do? Like,
look at this point. So they've lost first and they've lost second in the constructors if nothing changes, right? Here's the problem. So the easy solution, right, if there was no other implications, is just put Lawson in. Just put Lawson in. You can then promote Isaac Hadjar, who's their F2 driver, who's doing very well in F2. Into the V carb for a handful of races, because every other rookie that's jumped in out of an F2 car so far in the last 2 years has been phenomenal. So just give him a couple races, test Lawson out in the Red Bull, see what he can do, because you're not going to do worse. I'm sorry. I hate to say it. I like Checo. He's a super dude.
Bad now.
But it's just, and it's such a, he's just not in a good place. He's not himself. It's not going to get better. So just give Lawson the chance, see what he can do. Lawson's got an edge to him. He's got that Red Bull edge to him. You know, like I think he could survive in that environment the way that Perez hasn't, the way that Gasly didn't, the way that Albon didn't. There's something different about Lawson, and he's got a little bit of that killer instinct that I think that the main Red Bull team really looks for. Here's the problem. This is where it gets complicated, and this is where Red Bull has to decide if it's worth it. Right now, VCARB is in the middle of a very tight battle in constructors with Haas. Now, Haas just dealt them a huge blow this weekend. So maybe it matters less and they're just going to have to accept that they're seventh and they're not going to catch those cars. And so it's not as important for Lawson to be scoring points in the V-carb and they can risk bringing Hadjar in. That's what I would do. If tomorrow you just had control of everything, it's like, Checo, thank you. Liam, give it a whirl, see what you got. Isaac, here's a nice audition for a couple races, see how it pans out. And then at least you've got a better idea of who's got what ability level and who belongs where for 25. Because right now they've got to make all these decisions in a month anyway. 2 months. So why not at least get a little bit of data and a small sample size to make an educated decision, right?
Call Horner. Tell him that.
He'll figure it out. But yes, Checo unfortunately had a bad day. Dude, that save from Leclerc at the end.
Oh, I don't know that I saw that. I may have.
Dude. Lando's catching him. Lando's getting him this lap. And they come out of the last corner, big old tank slapper, and gets up into the dirt. And it looks like he overcorrected, and it looked like he was just going to fire it into the outside wall at full speed. Did like a 3 tank slapper, rooster tail of dirt and dust and garbage, and he's off track. Lando goes by, misses the ad banner by like millimeters, and kept it going. It was a huge save. Honorable, both Haas cars in the points, great for them. Alpine got a point, great drive from Gasly, just staying out of trouble and maximizing the car there. That's been a tough slog, tough season for those guys.
Do you want to know what's hilarious?
Decent comeback.
Do you want to know what's hilarious? So I was just my Twitter refreshed, and did you see the quotes that Checo had to say about Lawson after the weekend?
No.
Okay, so you're saying like you like the edge that he has, and like he might actually be, tough enough to survive at Red Bull, and like maybe deserves a shot and everything. Liam Lawson doesn't have the right attitude for Formula One, says Checo. I think the way he's come to Formula One, I don't think he has the right attitude for it. He needs to be a bit more humble. I think he's a great driver, and I hope for him they can step back and learn from it. And in his first 2 Grand Prix, he's had many incidents. I think there will be a point where it can cost him too much, like it did this weekend. I just think that he has to have the right attitude to say, look, probably I'm overdoing it a little bit. I will step back and start again. Because if you don't learn from your mistakes, Formula One is a brutal world, and he might not continue. So I think he's now Hail Marying, trying to make him look bad.
Yeah, I don't buy it.
Yeah.
I don't buy it. everyone else is talking about how good a job Lawson's doing and like going toe to toe with Alonso at Coda, like one of the best racers out there and coming out on top. Like even Fernando wasn't happy about it, but like you gotta respect it. Yeah, crazy, man. That's an interesting position for him to take, but I guess, you got to play the politics game, right? Who knows? So yeah, man, that was Mexico. It was, it's always a great time. This place is awesome. I've had way too much guacamole and way too many tacos over the last week, but that's what you do here.
Now you get to just have way too much meat and caprinas.
Oh, dude. Yes. Cannot wait for that.
Nice.
It's funny, man. So like, it wasn't that hot here this weekend. Normally this race is pretty roasty, but it actually wasn't too bad. It was pretty nice. But it's funny. Becky always accuses me of not drinking enough water, just like in general, just like a general well-being thing. Do you drink a lot of water in a day, Alex?
It goes in phases. Sometimes I'm super conscious about it and I try, and other times no. I don't not drink water. I will say that when I actively drink a lot of water, I'm pissing every hour, which is horrible.
Yeah. So, this is part of the argument that I've got. This is part of the argument that we have. I'm like, here's the thing. If I just drink a bunch of water, I am just constantly peeing.
Dude, I bought one of those
really
smart water bottles that was like, you need to drink X. And I used it for like,
at you and
I used it for like a week. And it was so, my existence was so miserable. I couldn't even drive anywhere. Like I was just pissing all the time. And I was like, oh, my body will adapt. It'll get used to it. It'll regulate. It doesn't. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't care enough to drink that much water.
I feel like my cells are just very efficient and just, they only need a little bit of water to be good because
like my piss is still clear, Jason.
Right, exactly. Right. It's now I'm just literally pissing out water.
Yeah.
And it's just so annoying. So because I did that. I woke up, I had a bottle of water. Then I drank a coconut water as soon as I got to the track. I had two, and when I say water, I mean this one. This is a 355 ml water. Mm-hmm. And then probably 355 ml carton of coconut water. Yeah. And I peed 3 times in an hour. I'm like, I'm not doing this ever again. Doing this again.
I will say I do drink a liter of sparkling water every night for dinner.
I do like the sparkling water.
I can drink more of that, but again, if I drink that much at dinner, I'm definitely getting up to pee in the middle of the night.
No, but I think the reason where it's okay with sparkling water is the carbonation. Like ultimately, that is sodium, right? So it's your cells are, when you consume any sort of sodium, your cells open up a little bit more because they're wanting to absorb water to balance out the sodium. So I think you're actually able to drink more sparkling water in a sitting without it having the same effect as just drinking purified water.
Because I've definitely noticed I can drink more sparkling water without that same phenomenon. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Huh. What did you get up to this weekend, bud, other than watch the Formula One race? How was Vegas? Wait, did you guys go to Vegas? Did you guys party in Vegas together?
No.
I didn't. No.
You didn't go?
I went to Vegas. I got there Friday evening around 10:45 because my flight was delayed. So I swiftly went to bed. Saturday, I watched the Indiana University Hoosiers continue to be great at football, which is pretty
That must
amazing.
be nice.
Yep.
Not been the same for me this year.
Right.
Being a USC fan.
Right. And then went out to pretty much a parking lot and watched around 25 clients of driven neuro network people and conquer paralysis now patients drive the SAM car. So the car that is controlled via mouthpiece and sunglasses.
Did you get to try it out?
And I actually did. I did drive
sweet.
it. And it was far more intuitive and easy than I thought. So Arrow and Sam have done an unbelievable job. And it's like actually pretty legit. Like, no, you're not going to get to the same limit of performance that you can with your hands and feet. But like you can corner and drive pretty aggressively. Oh, but like
easily.
You can drive on a racetrack pretty hard. You can have like oversteer and correct it. Like it's very good.
Well, that's what's so cool because like when you get an oversteer, you're taught from first day of racing school was like, look where you want to go, right? So like if your head just kind of goes a direction, you're naturally kind of looking that way as the car goes sideways, so it kind of corrects itself naturally.
It's
so explain the system. Explain the system to everybody so they know how it works.
So essentially you have glasses on that have some sensors on the glasses, and then there's a bunch of cameras in front of you that are tracking your head movement. Now, this is version whatever of that. The newest version actually uses AI cameras to do head tracking, so you don't need glasses. But I didn't get to try that system. But that's very cool that you can be driving and it's just understanding your head movement accurately enough that you don't need these little sensors all over the place. And then there's a tube that goes into your mouth where you exhale to accelerate and you inhale to use the brakes. It's all kind of force related. So the harder you blow or the faster you suck, in terms of velocity, is the input that the car is getting to either accelerate or brake. The challenge is when it's a decently long straight, like your lung capacity is only X, right? So it's hard when you get to the end of your breath cycle to then not have like a kind of a jerky moment as you breathe in. Like you're not sucking in, but you're breathing in to then exhale again. I was told afterwards that the trick is that you actually
plug your tongue.
You plug your tongue, because it's just measuring the pressure differential, right?
Yeah. I like how they didn't tell you that beforehand. No. That was Sam not wanting you to go faster than he does, so he wasn't going to tell you all the tricks.
But Sam was explaining that he's done this enough that he's figured out a way that he can actually like inhale and exhale through the tube in his mouth, but still breathe through his nose. Which actually Kenny G does on the saxophone.
I was going to say, exactly. some musicians do it. It's called recumbent breathing or something.
Whatever. Put your glasses on, read a book. So that was my Saturday, which was really cool and moving in a lot of ways because it was very emotional for some people. And they got to like drive a Corvette, which it's not like they were driving Ford Focus, right? Like they were driving something pretty cool. So that was great. And then we had a wonderful dinner at Zuma. And then we actually just had a nice evening at the hotel, played some craps, played some cars, went to bed. So Bobby Dowsell, our buddy, spotter for Arrow McLaren, accountant, essentially
vest guy, big
vest guy, decided to come with me. And so like we woke up Sunday morning, we were on East Coast time, so it was like 6:30.
He came with you to Vegas?
Yeah. Just to hang out.
Does he have a newborn?
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Fair.
Unaffected. And so we were like, hey, let's go to the spa. Like the spa sounds like a nice way to start the morning. Like they've got a bunch of different plunge pools and water monsoon showers and all these sort of things, right? Great. And so we get there and we're like, hey, can we just get a day pass? We're guests of the hotel and everything. They're like, no, we don't do day passes on the weekends. And I was like, oh, that sucks. And so as we're walking out, I was like, we can just book a treatment and not get it. So I walk back and I'm like, what is the cheapest thing I can get? And they're like, well, you can get a 30-minute pedicure. I was like, I want 2 of those, but I don't want it. And he was like, what? And so anyways, we ended up being able to use the spa, and we had it completely to ourselves because it was 6:30 in the morning, and no one else was awake yet.
Oh, that's great.
And then we watched some football, and the afternoon was a fundraiser for Sam's facilities. And so basically I got to take some of the guests and do hot laps with them. Got to drive Ferrari Challenge car, which I must say, as a GT sports car, very good.
Pretty impressive.
Very, very good. So that was cool. And then I got on a red-eye Spirit flight back to Indianapolis last night. And here we are. So
here we are. What's your week look like?
My week looks like not a whole lot.
That's nice.
Thursday, I go to San Diego, going to the Breeders' Cup with West Point Thoroughbreds, America's Best Racing, last horse event of the year for your boy. It's my dad's birthday, so we're taking him out. I'm going to do kind of a long weekend out there.
Nice. I thought you had one in November. Oh, is that?
I mean,
this is November.
November 1st. Yeah.
I thought there was a later one.
Oh no! So my horse runs in November 16th in Louisville. Yes, which you're coming to.
That's the one.
Yes,
right. That's the one I was talking about. Okay, lovely, Wonderbar.
Yeah.
Sweet. So little father-son trip to the is it the Breeders' Cup? You said
Breeders' Cup, San Diego.
Breeders' Cup.
Yes, sir. Same state as Tim. Not going to see him. Thank goodness.
Tim, what'd you get up to? I saw some pictures of you and Halloween stuff.
Yeah, there was a Halloween party. One of Hazel's friends had a Halloween party. And then Friday night, they called it like the traffic apocalypse in LA. There was the Dodgers-Yankees opening series game. There was a Lakers game. There was a USC game. There was a concert at SoFi, a concert at the Forum, and I think one other concert. So I just didn't leave the couch.
Oh my God. How bad was it? Like, was there news reports?
I've heard it was pretty rough.
Horrendous?
Yeah, I heard it was pretty rough.
Oh.
Again, I didn't. I had plans to go out that night, and it was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. Like,
it's not walkable. I'm not going.
Yeah, and then this weekend, gonna head up to Santa Barbara for a few days and just relax.
Just hanging out there by yourself,
just
with a
alone,
book, and
just taking a solo trip.
What are we doing there?
Yeah. Why would you go to Santa Barbara?
It's a nice place to just get away by yourself.
Be farther away from you. I heard you were going to be in San Diego, and I couldn't quite make it to San Francisco.
That's fair. That's a good reason. Good answer.
Very good answer. Very good answer. Sweet. All right. Well, Alex, have fun at the Breeders' Cup.
Thanks.
And look forward to hearing all about it.
Tim, have fun by yourself in
yourself in Santa Barbara. And yeah, I'll have fun in Brazil.
Yeah.
And we'll do this again next week. We'll reconvene and
I bet it'll be the same. I bet Max is going to ship Lando off at some point.
I don't think he's going to get close enough. I think
Sergio's going to underperform. The Ferraris will be pretty good, and there we go.
I think it's going to be a McLaren one too.
That's your prediction.
I think
Max is going to. I think he's going to punch back. I think Max wins.
Ooh, okay. I like that. Yeah, you can never count him out.
He's going to be like, this is bull. I don't want to race him like this either. I'm just going to eat their ass again. Yeah.
Because like at some point we're going to stop being friends if I keep having to do this. So I'm just going to put an exclamation point on this.
Go win by 20 seconds. Good old days.
Win the sprint, win the GP. We can always go get hammered, enjoy the last 3 races, have fun.
Yeah. Give me the trophy.
Just like with this election, I just hope everybody has a good time.
Oh God, you're just the worst.
Oh boys, when we were recording, it might be election day.
Oh, yeah. This will definitely be the last episode before the election. So vote. You know what? We're not going to tell you who to vote for or anything.
Honestly, please. That's good.
Do that.
Very good. Be a contribution to society and go vote.
This has been Off Track with Hinch and Rossi. Off Track is part of the SiriusXM Sports Podcast Network. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more, please give a 5-star rating and leave a review. Subscribe today wherever you stream your podcasts. We are at Ask Off Track on Twitter and Instagram. And if you want to follow us on Twitter, we're at Hinchtown and at Alexander Rossi. If you want to follow Tim, though we have no idea why you would, he's at The Tim Durham on Twitter. Find us on YouTube and subscribe to our channel for exclusive video content. Off Track is produced by Tim Durham, and by that we mean Tim.